Welcome to another episode of Junior Achievement of South Florida's Recipe for Success. Just as there are no two recipes that contain the exact same ingredients or measurements, there are no two success stories exactly the same. Recipe for Success features entrepreneurs, visionary leaders, and innovators of all ages who will share the ingredients that make them successful. Here's your host, Lori Salarulo, President and CEO of Junior Achievement of South Florida.
Hey everyone, welcome to Recipe for Success. We're here on the set at JA World Huizinga Center at the Lillian S. Wells Pavilion. Today's guest is really special to Junior Achievement. Mr. Harry Patten has been with this organization for many, many years, and if you have visited JA World, you have seen the Patten Family Foundation Finance Park. And so welcome our guest, Harry Patten.
Thank you.
Hi there, how good to see you.
Good to
I don't
see
get
you.
to see you very often, but maybe 3-4 times a year. It's always nice to visit.
Every time we do a donation here and come back and see the actual live kids working here and having fun and learning here, it's just, it doesn't hurt as much. It's just great.
Good, I'm glad it doesn't
Right.
hurt as much. And you're right, I've heard you talk about JA to other donors
Right.
who have been here and other visitors and other people. And you're passionate about it, and it's so funny because you know all the statistics. I wish I could clone you in that way because you know everything about what we do and the impact. And talk a little, I know you had mentioned once when you came here to speak about the value of that investment. Remember you had said that over the years you had given so much money, but that when you broke it down, what was it, like $4 a student?
Yeah, it seems like it was
something?
$4 a kid, but it's going to be even better than that now. Right? That was 2 years ago. It's probably 40, 50 cents a kid that gets the benefit of coming to JA from my part.
So
right?
big impact with
Yeah.
the donations,
Yeah,
which is
the
awesome.
dollars,
Yes. So why was this something? And I know you teased that you got involved because Wayne put his arm around you and said you're
Right.
gonna get involved
Right.
here.
And I said, what's it about? He said, just give me the money. Right? You're
That
going to
would be
love
Wayne.
it. Yeah, you're going to love it.
That would be Wayne. But you've grown to love the mission. Tell me a little bit about why. Why is entrepreneurship, financial literacy, and work skills so important, do you think, today?
Well, it's important because the kids are getting an inkling of what life is about working is, and it opens up other ideas. For instance, you have an aviation room, right? Where and I understand there are more airplane companies coming into the thing, and you can find out about how to become a pilot, a mechanic, do all of those things, and it's almost hands-on. And what do we bring in? How many kids come through here now a year?
Over 50,000 coming through this
Over
building.
50,000 kids. I mean, that's absolutely amazing that you're touching 50,000 kids, If we had a bunch of school buses out here, there'd be a long line of
Absolutely.
school buses going down the road. It'd probably go down to past the airport, I would think. We had 50,000.
It might even go
How many
into
kids
Miami.
fit in a bus?
Probably about 60, I think.
About 60. Would somebody do the math on that for me?
Yeah, that's a lot of kids. That's a lot of buses.
Huh?
So, but why? So
Wait a
you,
minute, I'll do the math on that.
Oh, you want to do the math on that?
60 kids.
So
How many times?
60 kids
Times
into
50,000, is that right? Do the
Yeah.
math?
I don't know. We'll figure
Okay,
that out.
do that while we're waiting. Okay.
We'll get the answer to you soon.
Okay.
But entrepreneur, you are an entrepreneur, and so I would love
yes.
for you to share
Okay.
a little bit about that journey with us.
I never knew I was an entrepreneur until a few years ago. Today, I was talking to my wife this morning, and people were talking about when you see through transparency. They were talking about transparency. And I said to her, what would we do today if we hadn't brought that into our vocabulary? We never heard it 5 years ago or 10 years ago, but today everything's got to be transparent. We have to have more transparency. You hear it all the time. It took me a long time to figure out what that meant. But it's the same. When I first started in business, I started as a salesman. I was a vacuum cleaner salesman. I knocked on doors, made appointments. I'd go to class during the day, during school. I'd come home, have a quick bite to eat, and hit the road, make some appointments, and go show the vacuum cleaner. And, talk about experiences. You never know how you're affecting people or how it affects people's lives. But I did that for 3 weeks. And I dragged that vacuum cleaner in a house, out of the house, in a house, out of the house. I did it 32 times and never made a sale. But I made a sale. I was in the University of New Hampshire a few weeks ago, and I drove by the house where I made my first sale.
Wow.
It was Dr. Handy and his wife. And I said everything like, well, that's it. Would you like to own one? And everybody used to say, no, it's too expensive or something. But he said, yes, I think we'll take it. So that launched my career as a salesperson. And that was a highlight. That was a big highlight, big changer. And I moved on to, and then one day I met a man who was in the land development business. And I asked him what he did, because I always ask people what they do. And I like to know how people make their money, how they live, what careers they have. And he says, well, I'm a land developer. And he says, we're developing something in North Carolina right now, and I'm just going to go down and take a look at it. He said, why don't you come with me? And I said, well, I don't know anything about land sales, land. So he gave me a tour, and he said, I tell you what, how much are you making now? And I said, oh, I'm probably making $150, $200 a week. This is a long time ago. And he said, if you come to work for me, I will pay you a salary, amazing salary of $350 a week.
Wow.
He says, have you ever sold land before? I said, no. He says, do you think you could? I said, yeah, I know I could. He said, can you develop me a sales force? I said, yeah, I'll figure it out. And so that's how I got started back in 1963 in the land development business. Really.
That's funny. Yeah, you were telling us about how he asked you if you could sell properties and build the sales team, and you said, I can.
I did that. It was 1963. And I did that for a couple of years, and I said, geez, I kind of miss moving back. This was in Virginia, North Carolina. I said, I kind of like Massachusetts and New England, New Hampshire, where I grew up. So I said, I think I'll just leave this job and go up and get started in business myself. Now, I'm still a non-entrepreneur. I have never heard the word entrepreneur at this particular point, or transparency. So I go up and I look and I look and I look, and I can't. I finally found a piece of land I wanted to buy, but I can't find somebody to back me. I needed $15,000 to start my business, and I didn't have it. Eventually, I found an individual who said, yeah, I'll come up with $15,000, but I want to become your partner. And he was a big guy from Vermont. He was a timberman, and he owned thousands of acres of land. And he said, well, how are you going to sell that? I said, well, I'm going to hire some salesmen, and we're going to bring people. He said, what are these salesmen going to say? I'm kind of worried about salesmen. And I said, we'll do that, and if they give us 20% down, we'll finance it for them. He says, we don't get paid? We're going to finance it? Nobody does that. And I said, well, we do. Give me a chance, we'll show you. Well, after a long struggle, he became my partner, and away we went. And that lasted about maybe 15 years. It was a great relationship. So he changed my life. So how else did my life? What other points in my life did I change?
So
when did I become an entrepreneur? I'm still a salesman, right? At that point.
So you still thought of yourself as a salesman, even though you had your own business.
Right.
Interesting.
Well, we didn't have entrepreneurs. Nobody was an entrepreneur. There was no such thing. And if you did, you'd say, what?
It was called free enterprise or something at that time.
No, it was called selling. Sales, right?
Right.
So what I learned in those days, you got to have goals. If you can't have goals and set goals, you can't go anyplace. You're going to spin your tires. You got to have an end result. You got to picture what you want to do, what you're going to look like in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, even a few more years than that. And
because you're still going.
Yeah.
Now, were you in the timeshare business?
No.
Or what was Blue Green at the time? Were you
Blue
involved with
Green
that?
was a land development company.
It was started as a land development.
Yeah,
Okay.
it started as a land development company. It went public in 1985.
So you took it public?
Yes. was on the New York Stock Exchange, and it was very successful. In about maybe 90 and 91, I left and retired.
And retired.
Yeah.
What happened to that?
Well, it was a very boring 2 weeks. So after 2 weeks, I found another piece of land. I had a little cash this time, and I formed a new company. And that company today exists. It's the company that I own today. It's called National Land Partners.
Right.
We've done business in 40 of the states in the country.
Wow.
We've owned land in 40 of those states and had developments and communities there. We've been in Canada. We've looked at other countries, but basically that's it, 40 states and Canada.
It's interesting because when you talk about a company being in business that long, and you use the word transparency today and entrepreneurship, one of the other words I think we hear a lot about today is that our companies need to stay relevant, right?
Yeah.
So how has your company changed over the last however many years, right? A lot of years. How have you changed to stay current with what people want today, what they're looking for, and that sort of thing?
Well, I'm not sure we've stayed relevant. we seem to change as the world changes. Our product, the type of land that we sell. We used to sell great large tracts of land to individuals. Today we develop and sell building lots to builders. We focused in basically the hottest state in the union, which is Texas. We've dropped, although we've been in 40 states right now, our whole focus is there. So I guess that's staying relevant, is staying where the action is, right?
Yeah, and changing to the model that people are looking for today, right? So if you didn't do that and you still tried to sell and stay with your old model, you probably would have gone out of business, right?
No,
if that's not the way.
We never would have gone out of business.
Well, no, I know you would never allow that, but I'm saying if a company doesn't change to meet the needs of the customer, which in your case is what happened. So
I think that's when I became an entrepreneur.
I think maybe. I don't know.
It's true. We had a lot of transparency with our community and the people that work for us.
But you didn't.
They all wanted to be transparent.
Well, I think, back then it was just expected. I don't think that's why you talked about it then.
What was expected?
You did business thinking that somebody was being transparent, and you shook their hand, and you didn't always have paper. And today everything is much more formal, don't you think?
It's not transparent. That's just keeping your word.
That's true.
Right.
So I bet that's been a big part of your success.
It has.
Yep, keeping your word.
My dad was born in 1881, and his motto, if he shook your hand, you had a deal, right? And if he told you something, you could depend on it. And like, I'm going to beat your butt.
You could know he was going to do it.
You could tell he was going to do it. But if he said, I'm going to help you do this. In fact, he really taught me to be a salesperson, not an entrepreneur, because he had one car and some samples, and he sold tailor-made suits in New Hampshire where people didn't wear suits. Only the undertaker, the minister,
the banker, maybe?
The banker, right. Those were his customers. But he found out, and he would sell farmers every 20 years or 25 years. He'd catch the farmer again. So I guess I learned a lot from him.
So I heard you mention a couple of people, your dad, this other gentleman that you became partners with.
Right.
Would you call them mentors, in a sense, role models?
Yeah, it's like transparently. I never heard of mentors before, but today we have mentors.
That's what we call them today.
Right.
But I think they're important, right, as we grow up and you're learning those values and those sales skills that you talked about.
Right.
Seeing people.
I've had a lot of
good
mentors in my life.
Yeah. And I think also you, just from getting to know you over the last few years, you also love mentoring people, which is also really important, right?
We have a lot of
Passing
kids.
that experience on.
We have a large family. I talked to one of them last night. It's Mary Kujak. She's in medical school. She's in surgery this month or next month for 3 months. She'll do that for this quarter, and then she'll move on to something else. So we had a great talk last night about going to med school. And we've got kids. One of our kids that we met at Horatio Alger just got married. They're 25 years old now. So we probably have 10 or 15 kids that we mentor. Right? Yeah. And so that's great.
Yeah, being a mentor, passing on that experience, right?
Right.
You have so much valuable knowledge to pass on to these young people.
Yeah. Try not to pass it all on, though, because they get ahead of me. You know?
They get ahead of you.
I got a kid who's, I really can't tell her much more because, number one, she doesn't listen to me much anymore, but she's got a lot of experience and she's doing great, and it's just great.
This is your own kid you're talking about.
Yeah, my own
right?
kid.
Well, they don't listen to us because we're their parents.
But she's shot past me. I mean, she's got her own bathing suit company, and she's 22 years old. And,
so they may not always listen, but I think they're watching and they're absorbing, right, what they're watching you do.
Right.
Because she got it from somewhere.
I don't know.
So I'm thinking she got some of it.
Maybe from my mom.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, but I bet she got some from you. One of the things that I think I admire most, and it's really interesting, you are still working, right? You could retire anytime, or you could have retired anytime, but yet you're still working. What is it that keeps you going?
I don't have anything else to do.
Boredom. Like you don't want to be bored, is that it?
I don't have anything else to do. You know, I get up in the morning, I get on the phone, I trade shares. But then what do I do after I trade shares? It's only 9 o'clock in the morning. What am I going to do? So now I start calling my offices and talking about numbers with my accounting department. And I have a great time.
Right. So you're still enjoying it.
Huh?
You're still enjoying what you do.
Yeah.
You're still passionate about it.
What would I do?
Right.
Right. You know, like go to the beach maybe, hang out with my pool, my dog, or whatever. Right?
That would get old after a while.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's a shame that you get people who are very capable of doing things, so they kind of rot away.
Yeah.
So I don't want to rot away.
I do think that that's true.
I want to be transparent. I want to be a mentor, and I want to be
an entrepreneur.
An entrepreneur, right? Right.
I love. Let's see, and relevancy, right? That was our fourth word, right?
Yeah.
Relevancy, transparency, entrepreneur, and what was
There's probably a couple more. I forgot.
Probably some more. What has been the most important main ingredient to your success? Like, what's the one thing you would say to our young people that if you don't have this, right, it's going to be more difficult?
You don't have a goal to start with.
Yeah, the goals.
You got no place to go. So you got to have a goal. And there's a great record album, right, to date myself really bad, and it's called Lead the Field. And somebody gave me a record, and the first record in there was Attitude. And the narrator, the narrator on the record said, which later became tapes, and then I think it became videos and so forth.
And now it's a podcast somewhere.
Now it's a podcast. He said, I want you to listen to this recording every day for 30 days. And it drilled on attitude, how you treat people, goal setting, and it was a tremendous thing. It's still available for kids. I still hand it out and give it to kids. They like me, a lot of kids probably don't listen to it. But it's a tremendous message, and I impregnated my brain with it many, many, many years ago. It was really a great.
And a lot of hard work.
Huh?
I'm sure that a lot of hard work, that grit, right? Because when things don't always go the way we plan, right, you've got to have that grit, that determination to stay in it, especially in sales.
And you got to be transparent.
And you got to be transparent. And you got to stay relevant. And you got to be an entrepreneur.
Right. So, what do you think I have to do to become an entrepreneur?
I don't know. I think you need to take the JA Fellows course because we teach them how to be entrepreneurs. They actually start real businesses with real investors like the one you talked about.
Right. Does that begin with an E or an I?
It begins with, in that case, an E. But by the way, it's really interesting because there's a new word out there. I don't know if you've heard it called intrapreneurs.
Yeah.
Right, and those are the people that work for us.
Right.
And we want them to act like entrepreneurs, but they're inside our company.
I see.
Right,
Okay.
so that's another new term we could add to
use
the
your
list.
pen?
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna make a note. Yeah,
About intrapreneurs?
yeah, it's true.
Absolutely. Can I read that first and then you can have my pen?
Okay.
So we're going to read back some of your ingredients.
Oh, great.
And
Okay.
just because it's kind of interesting when you see it all on one page and you hear some of the things. If there's anything we left out, certainly do add that for me. I know you will. So that I heard you say something at the very beginning about when you sold that vacuum. There's something about being a salesperson and getting that sale. It's almost like a high, right? Is that what you felt when that happened? And do you still feel that way today?
Yes. Yeah. When you make a sale, we have a great week or a great event in our company, and a sales event, and we have record-breaking sales. I feel great. I love it.
It's like a drug, right?
I love to look at my sales. The first thing I do. Well, it's the second thing I do when I get up Monday mornings. Maybe the third. But anyway, I look at the sales report that comes in on Sunday night, right? And it's the first thing I look at. I'm excited to do that.
Right. Yeah, it's a thrill.
Yeah.
There's definitely a thrill to the game. So I had that down, that was one of the things that definitely drives you. Learning about people and being focused on people, I have it down again at the bottom. So you mentioned that a couple times, how you treat people was one of the tapes that you mentioned also. I get your newsletter, and I love reading it when I get it because you always have a lot in there about what you do for your teams out there and the different events you do for them and all that. So
Right.
It seems like you take very, very good care of them, and that's important.
We have a lot of fun.
Yep. Confidence. A lot of confidence. Right at the beginning, when that guy first asked you if you could sell land, you said, "I can do it."
I needed a job.
Okay, so maybe there was a little desperation in there with
I would
that
have told him
confidence.
anything, right? It's better than selling vacuum cleaners, I'll tell you.
So we got confidence mixed in with a little desperation.
Yeah, really.
Exactly. But like you mentioned this word earlier before we even came on the show, which was fear. You needed a job.
Right.
Right? So you said, I can do this because I
Right.
have to do it.
Right.
And so there was that, I don't want to call it desperation, but there was that drive.
I had a lot of kids in those
To
days.
survive, yeah. It was survival.
Right.
Exactly. Attitude, you talked about the tape on attitude. I think today you hear very often that people would rather hire for attitude sometimes than experience.
Right.
So we can teach them the skills, right? Got to have goals. You've mentioned that several times. And so I think that's so true, not just individually, but also company goals and organizational goals. And it's interesting because we, here I run a nonprofit, and so people, they find it interesting that as much as I am passionate about our mission, we still have to have goals as a business or we won't survive.
Right.
And so it's finding that balance between making a difference and really delivering the mission.
Right.
And
I think you do a great job here.
Well, thank you.
Right.
I'm so glad we got that on tape.
Right. No, I think
I want to remember that.
I can remember when Melissa was trying to raise money and get this place started. She came to my house. I had a little, my youngest daughter was running around. She was like in diapers, and she chased me down and, gave me the idea. Before that, we still got a couple minutes?
Sure.
Okay. I had agreed to sponsor JA in Palm Beach. And we dug out the picture the other day of the groundbreaking. We had the shovels, we had the helmets, and we had the commitments. And the college up there was going to be on the campus of some college, I forget what it was. But we did the groundbreaking, we did everything, and the money didn't come through. Nobody put any money in. So JA never made it there. So when you're at my house sometime, I'll show you the non-JA.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
The non-JA.
Yeah. So, but this came up with such great, enthusiastic founders that it's been JA here is just tremendous.
Thank you.
And I can't believe that I can bring kids in here for less than $1 into
Finance Park.
Finance Park.
That's your finance park.
Yeah,
Yes,
in a
exactly.
finance park, right?
Yeah, yeah. The impact for the dollars invested, the impact is
Right.
tremendous.
So if I took 50,000 kids and divided it, how much it cost me? I could probably come up with a cost per kid.
I think we did that last time, and I think it was like $4 or something
Yeah,
like
it's
that
gonna be down to
per
like a
kid.
buck.
But it may be even less now, because actually this year we'll probably hit 58,000 kids.
Oh, wow.
Because we're actually going to be serving more in the high schools. And that's a great thing. Broward County Public Schools really sees us as a tremendous partner, because they're really good at the academics and we're really good at this stuff.
Right.
So you put it together and it makes a better
Right.
partnership. So. You talk a lot about, you talked about hard work, and obviously that was a big part of it. I love this one, and I think this is something that we may have lost a little bit of today, which is keeping your word. And I think that's so important.
Right.
It's what I learned as a child, right?
Right.
Loyalty, and if you say you're going to do something, you better
Right.
do it.
Right.
Passion. You're passionate about your businesses, passionate about selling. Mentors.
Passion's been a few things.
Passion's been a
Yeah,
few
still at
things, yes.
83, not completely dead.
Passion is a good thing, an excellent thing. It's what keeps me going. And mentors, having mentors and also being a mentor,
Right.
so important. And even though you're not here at JA World every day, the opportunity that you've given is for us to mentor 58,000 students a year, which is a great legacy.
It's almost unbelievable,
Yeah.
right?
Right. And so hopefully more people will want to feel that unbelievable feeling,
Right,
right?
write some
And
checks.
get involved and write some checks. Exactly, because we got to sustain this, right?
Right, yeah.
Exactly. So, but I have to tell you, so I have to tell this quick story, because I don't know if you remember this, but on my first day at JA, for a little over 4 years ago, I'll never forget, it was the end of May 2015. And I arrive on my first day, and I am right in for this transition, taking over this place from someone who was very loved,
Yep.
Melissa, who I respected. People were still in mourning and grief over her passing. And I get here and they say to me, so one of our biggest donors is coming here today. And I'm like, well, I didn't know who that was or what was even going on. I couldn't find my way to the bathroom on the first day. And they said,
That's too bad.
Mr. Patten's coming.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. And the first thing you said to me was, I'm not happy about what's going on here. And I said, well, I haven't had much time to look into anything yet, but based on the numbers, I would have to agree with you.
Right.
It's not looking very good, but
What was I unhappy about?
I think just the situation we were in financially, right?
I hate that.
I know, me
Yeah.
too. So we did. So we've changed things, but one thing I have to say is, I think I would add to your list is loyalty. You told me how you felt when we met again. I think probably maybe several months later, I said to you, everything you told me was absolutely true. We were not doing this, we're not doing this, we're not doing this.
I never said all that stuff.
I know. See, this is the second time today I'm telling you were right about something.
Yeah, okay.
You may want to hang out here more often.
Yeah, nobody ever tells me that, right?
But you.
Especially Amy, she's awful. She says, you never do anything, right? Yeah, listen to me.
So I want to thank you for that.
Right.
You were here at the beginning. You told me, you gave me honest, authentic feedback, which I really appreciated, and so. It gave me some things to really look at and figure out how to do better. And you've stayed a supporter all along, and we appreciate that. And you've been a great mentor for me too. Whenever I meet with you, you've got new ideas and things like that. And so I know I can always call you and talk to you about a challenge if I have it. So, but I'll try not to bother you too much. And you probably won't take my call because you think I'm asking for money anyway.
Right.
But anyway, so I want to say thank you for all that you have done for
Right.
junior achievement. This building wouldn't be here without people like you.
Right.
And of course, Wayne, who got us started. But there's a very small group of you who really made this happen.
Thank you.
So thank you for that. Thank
Right.
you for your continuous support and loyalty. Thanks for becoming a friend of mine and JA. And thanks for being here today.
Great.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Well, thanks everyone. It really has been such a pleasure to have Mr. Patten here with us today. and to have his name on that room for Finance Park, where 25,000 kids go through each year. And we're really excited this year because we're going to be bringing some technology into there. As a matter of fact, Harry did give us an additional gift about a year or two ago to bring the tablets into that program, so thank you again. And we'll continue to make sure that we keep it relevant and keep it up to date and make sure your legacy is well represented. So
thank you.
Thank you. And stay tuned for next week, and let's get cooking.